Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to whatever part of the world you are. We are going to start this session. Myself, Dr. Rakhi Gupta, I'm part of the Global Responsible Business Team of Unilever, and I'm based out of India. As a quick introduction, thank you everyone for sparing out this time with us on the understanding of the requirements of RPP and also sharing Unilever expectations around it. We truly appreciate the relationship and we value our partnership along with you. And thus, this is a step together to, step forward to strengthen that further and be able to, come up front and share with you the expectations and the requirements behind RPP. Before I proceed, as I shared my introduction with you, but just wanted to let you know that there is an option that you can, choose the language. If you want to choose a different language, go into, settings and under subtitles and captions, choose another language so you start seeing that into your language. Can we please go to the next slide? So, the golden rules for today's webinar session are going to be please use MS Teams application if possible for you. That would be better. You'll be mute during the session, but don't worry. We have an option where you can raise your questions under Q&A section. Rest be assured that each and every question asked by you will be answered. Ensure that you're connected to high-speed internet. Very, very important. The session is going to be recorded. We will share with you the presentations after the session in a day or two along with the FAQs as well. So let's not worry about it. And please do keep raising your questions under Q&A section. Our presenters will try their best to, answer your questions. If they remain unanswered, please don't panic. We will reach out to you with the adequate response, either in this Q&A itself or else in the FAQs. You'll have that response. We'll not miss any. I promise. Next slide, please. The way today's next 90 minutes are planned are it is responsible business team, which is me and my team. We will touch upon the requirements of RPP. We'll also talk about self-assessment questionnaires that you guys need to fill in when you register with Unilever, the audits and different verification mechanisms that we have, the validity and its remediations around. So we'll talk about all of that. And it is our team which is responsible for supporting all of you and work in partnership with all of you in remediation of the critical issues. A few of you or many of you, I'm not sure, might have also, contacted with me in the past with relation to any key incidents or repetitive issues where we are not finding any pragmatic approach. So that's a quick bit about responsible business team. So we'll touch upon those aspects. Then it will be quality team who will also guide you to the policies around quality, the scope, what we are looking for, what is the process flow, what is the framework around it, the golden rules, USQS and certifications. All of that is also going to be touched upon. Then it is going to be supplier operations team, which will help you navigate to USQS as well as different audit tools. You may be working on SEDEX, you may be working on EcoVadis, you may be working on USQS tools of ours. So we'll help you navigate all of them and show you how does that look like. And we also explain the why, how, and why behind these USQS tasks. And last, before we wrap up, will be getting support and resources that you have already available, and then definitely answering the questions and answers in between as well during the session itself. Next slide, please. So we'll touch upon responsible partner policy. I'm sure that all of you know it. Salient features around it, its requirements that is being looked upon. What is self-assessment questionnaire? What are the applicable audit verifications on me? Is it SEDEX, EcoVadis, or none? So let's talk about that. Next slide, please. Talking about responsible partner policy, this has ever been in existence earlier as well, but the latest version is as of December 8, 2022. Before that, you must have heard about responsible sourcing policy for those who are associated with us for long, long, long years. It is exactly the way we do business and the way we expect all our partners to do business as well. So we also expect you to cascade these requirements or have similar requirements within your ways of working as well. So if you are dealing with any of your suppliers, you also ensure the requirements are being met. We nowhere expect you to abide by our policy because it is going to be your policy, not ours. That's what is very candidly called out into our policy document as well, where we say it is your policy. So please make sure that your policy has enough of the things that are able to meet the mandatory requirements of the responsible partner policy that we do have. This policy describes what Unilever requires our business partners to do. We have to work collaboratively. We can't work in silos. And we also act or want all our value chain partners to work in close coordination with ensuring that the mandatory requirements of fundamental principles across RPP are met. And this is, we understand, is going to be an industry-wide effort, and it's not like one person's effort. So our ambition is that we able to work along with you to bring that collaboration of change. Next slide, please. What it all have? So an RPP policy has three pillars under 17 fundamental principles. The three buckets are very loud and clear. Pillar one, which is business integrity and ethics, has three fundamental principles. Legal compliance, you must be legally compliant, and countering corruption. No, acceptance of anti-bribery and corruption. Safeguarding information and property at all times, sourcing and manufacturing products with the rightful, ingredients and rightful things and specifications. This precisely is more applicable for, CMs. Then comes pillar two, human rights. You would see that human rights has a huge number of fundamental principles assigned to it, 11. Out of 17, 11 are focused on human rights. So you could really appreciate the kind of focus that as an organization we have in our RPP talking about human rights as a premise. Freely agreed terms of employment. Every worker which is working with you should be freely agreeing to the terms of employment, shouldn't be forced to work along. No passports retained, no recruitment fees being paid, no condition where they remain bonded with you and cannot move out. Free from discrimination. There shouldn't be any discrimination on account of age, gender, sex, religions, country, origin, anything. It has to be free from discrimination. Free from harassment, any kind of harassments, hostile work environment, or sexual harassments, or disrespectful. Everything is a component of harassment. Work is voluntary. Worker is working because it is voluntary and is really wanting to do it. No forced working at all. Appropriate age, no child labor. Fair wages, they should be, compensated fairly. Minimum wages is a basic that is definitely required. More the merrier. And yes, living wage is also a concept which is coming in, which we'll talk about in the next slides. Reasonable working hours. The working hours have to be reasonable. 60 hours per week, including overtime, is what is the ask out of RPP and is equivalent to what ILO standards also mention. There has to be rest days, 1 in 7. All of those are requirements which need to be met too. We do understand in our discussions and understanding with all of you that many of you, that many countries may have different requirements. But let's understand wherever there's a difference between the two, the local legislations and the RPP requirements, the stricter of the two has to follow. So we are absolutely okay and aligned to work along with you in case there is any challenge in building up effective corrective action plans in these segments where there's a contravention or I will say contradiction between the two. Freedom of association, workers should have this freedom that they can have build a association so that they're able to talk about whatever they want to say and openly. Health and safety is one thing which is super important for us. We are not ready to compromise. So everything should be under a safe environment within the premises that you operate in. Grievance mechanisms and remedies that should also be accessible to the workers, and then comes land rights. When we talk about planet pillar 3, which is planet, it talks about protect and regenerate nature, climate action, waste-free world, and it also adds up to the commitment of plastic-free and things like that. That as an organization we do have. So it is like that. If you see on the right hand of the side of the screen, each and every fundamental principle has different elements in our RPP. The first one is mandatory requirements. They're super mandatory requirements. They need to be met. There is no exception to the rule. Then comes mandatory management systems, which is precisely talking about those systems which are commensurate to the size of the business, are relevant and required for anybody to meet the mandatory requirements. And then comes future mandatory requirements, which is as a prep of what is going to happen in future and become mandatory requirement. We start working together now. So living wage is one wonderful example around it. You may or may not be, working in it as of now, but I'm sure that you would have heard the noise and at least started getting some triggers around it that living wage is an ask that need to be done. So there is no expectation that you start paying living wage from now. The expectation is that we have a target that it needs to be completed as a future mandatory requirement. Thus, very relevant that you start working in the right direction and do not get surprised when it becomes mandatory in 2028 or 2030. Then comes leading practices. These are the practices which we see in your facilities, which are over and above what is even expected, which ultimately becomes good examples around it. So these are the four elements which are under every RPP, a fundamental principle. Next slide, please. So as I said, that future mandatory requirements, so you may, come back and say that how do I know which is your latest future mandatory requirements? So as of now, it is living wage, which we are focusing upon, but it is also available on our unilever.com page, and it is always updated in case there is any change, it will be updated here itself. Next slide, please. These are the different kind of verification and audits that we have. So first and foremost thing is whenever the new onboarding happens, there's a self-assessment questionnaire which is being filled up by you guys. And then basis that you also submit a RPP declaration to us which says that at all times you'll comply with the requirements of RPP. SEDEX are the on-site audits which are done based on the risk prioritization metrics that we have built in. So once you fill up the self-assessment questionnaire, there's a complete risk metrics which run based on different parameters that we have already built it in, and your organization will get classified into high risk, medium risk, or low risk. And depending upon the kind of or commodity or the scope of the work that you're going to do it, we will assign that whether it is a SEDEX audit which will get due to you, EcoVadis audit, which is a desktop assessment which will get due to you, or it is nothing, but we will do due diligence or doing a continuous monitoring. So we do due diligence for each and every supplier of ours, irrespective of the size, irrespective of the risk in appetite. Next slide, please. So that's what I'm going to take you through. So if you see this, this is the complete vendor onboarding process. Many of you may have these questions. Is it only applicable for new vendors? The answer is no. We start from new onboarding process because it is equally good for a new vendor to understand, equally good for an existing vendor also to understand the RPP relevance around it, and where do you sit and what is it that you need to expect around it. So under this onboarding stage and process, there is a RPP initiative without which a registration will not get complete. So there are four initiatives that get launched under the questionnaire itself, which is anti-bribery, corruption, data privacy, living wage, RPP, and declaration, which is must for everybody to respond. And on the right bottom side of the screen, you see is a landing page that you see when you log in into HIX. So this is just a representation to show you how it looks like into your screens. Next slide, please. So talking about SEDEX audit requirements, you see Unilever accepts only SEDEX audits on site. So it is a SMETA 7.0 version which we are adopting as of now, which is a 4-pillar audit. SMETA is also recognized by SSCI. There are 10 audit houses which are approved audit houses as of now. Suppliers need to approach to these audit houses and submit their audit reports there. You have to create a linkage amongst in SEDEX with Unilever PLC, so we are able to visually see your or access your SEDEX reports. Audit is paid by you and the brevity of contract lies between you and the audit houses. It's just that if you're not feeling right or you're facing any challenge with any of the audit houses, our team will be there to help you out navigate it better. But no cost discussions, but there won't be any fee discussions that our team will be supporting you with. What do auditors do on the ground? Very clearly, we wanted to share with you. They will share with you a checklist prior to the audit. Very important that you receive that checklist because that helps you to prepare well in advance, and we utilize a better timing of auditors and your team. There has to be an opening meeting with LT where they share the clear expectations of what they're looking for that 1 day or 2 day trip that they are there for. They will go for a factory walk, factory visit along with your team, do inspection, review, massive review of the documents with respect to payroll, working hours, rest days, in and out of your teams, recording of the data, policies, procedures, health and safety measures, fire safety norms, everything they will look into it, the training records and everything. So it's a good amount of work that they do in terms of document review as well. They would also do worker interviews, maybe in group or individuals, depending upon the scope that they are looking for, depending upon the country they are into it, depending upon the risk that they foresee. So there is some liberation with the audit houses around it. And then they will go with the closing meeting again with your leadership team, giving you an opportunity where they share the major number of observations that they have or the findings that they have. They give you an opportunity to explain them, maybe if they have not understood it rightly. If it is convinced that it is a finding, they also work around with you on what a probable corrective action plan should look like. The best scenario, okay? It may or may not be possible for you, but they will work around with you the best scenario. Once that is done, it is going to be signed amongst both of you, and then the report is provided within 10 days. If there is a key incident, so we have prioritized out of all meta issue titles, we have identified or selected some findings which are classified as key incidents that they need to report back to us within 24 hours of the finding. And the idea is that you should also be telling you that this is a key incident and getting reported. This is that they need to then book a follow-up audit within 90 days of the audit and help you close the findings. Next slide, please. What are the findings and remediation validity around it? So once you get the findings, you need to develop the corrective action plan. That corrective action plan need to be implemented, verification done by same auditors, and the closure of findings done in SEDEX within 90 days of the audit. That's the requirement that Unilever has. You may come across issues where SEDEX is saying that this finding need to be closed in 30 days, 60 days, but the outer limit is 90 days. SEDEX may have some findings where they say 120 days is also okay. But from Unilever standpoint, we are monitoring it by 90 days itself. If it is a key incident, it will get reported to us within 24 hours. Our teams, along with, RB, along with supplier ops team, tries and reaches out to you. So please be responsive because we are here to support you, not to, question you. There can be findings. We all are doing businesses, but the fact is we are here to support you to build effective corrective action plan that helps you sail through the audit. So we are working close participation with close coordination with you as partner to you and not as competitor to you. So we need to build up corrective action plans, support you, get the follow-up audit booked, and get these closed within 90 days. So we follow a very strict rigor around it. In case the KIs are not getting closed within 90 days, we even go to a level of, creating a challenge in the system where, you will not be able to have future business till the time those issues are resolved. What is the validity and scoring? Scoring is again Unilever specific scoring. It has nothing to do with SEDEX scoring. So if it is a minor finding, it will get a score of 10. Major, then it is going to get a score of 30. This is a publicly available information under our audit requirements document as well. All collaborative action required findings have a scoring of 1000 as of now. Which means if you are getting any car finding pertaining to living wage, pertaining to forced labor, you're getting a 1000 score. The reason being that none of the collaborative action required findings as per the SMETA protocols can be reviewed and verified before 1 year. So it can only be verified and reviewed when the renewal audit happens. Thus, the validity has been kept for 1 year in those cases. Next slide, please. Talking about EcoVadis, which is a desktop assessment, super easy, um, and it is generally applicable to those where the scope of business is indirect bias and not the direct bias. And there are thresholds around it. So when the EcoVadis is triggered, you need to do an online registration into EcoVadis system. There is a questionnaire which need to be filled in. You have to upload several policies and procedures that you have in place. Expert analysis will be run and the results and the scorecard will be shared. Please appreciate this is going to be your personal, your organization's confidential information which you are sharing both in SEDEX and EcoVadis. None of those information gets shared with Unilever. It is an independent assessment that you are getting done. We're just looking for the scorecard and the findings that these audits provide. We are not looking for any of the documents that you submit to the audit houses. They are submitted to them in close, kind of a confidentiality, and you sign NDAs with them as well. Basis the scoring, there is the validity mechanism again built in by Unilever that in case you have a score which is more than 65 plus, the validity is going to be, 36 months, and if it is less than 24, it's going to be just 1 year, and you have to complete e-learning courses as well. Going to the next slide, please. Yeah. Due diligence. So as I said, that under anti-bribery and corruption and sanctions, political exposures, these are the parameters on which we screen all our suppliers, irrespective of the country they're based off, irrespective of the size of business, irrespective of the nature of the business that is being there. But all of them are being screened and reviewed on continuous basis on these parameters. What we need from you, we need nothing from you on to do this. But what we need from you is if any of the red flags are identified during the process and our team reaches out to you to ask for a justification or clarification around, please be responsive and provide your immediate feedback around it to enable us, review that red flag and work around on remediations. Proactively inform us if you experience any significant operations issues in your operations itself related to any of the above. Please do proactively reach out before us finding it out. Next slide, please. So that is it from my side. I'm going to hand over to Sunita. Sunita, if there are any questions which you may like to raise, and in the interim for the audience as well, please make sure that you type in your questions, whatever you have. We will make sure that we try and answer most of them. Over to you,
Hi
Sunita.
everyone. Hi everyone. My name is Sunita and I take care of RPP operations. Though I may not have interacted with you, my extended team works with you day in and day out. Uh, Coming back to question, most of the questions are related to the recording and the slides, and I have responded some of them. Yes, this is recorded and the slides will also be shared once we complete all the planned webinars. Coming back to a couple of critical questions, Raki. One is on who should go for EV audit and who should go for a SEDEX audit. And if there is already a SEDEX audit done, do I need to do again or those certificates hold good? The reports hold good. Yeah, over to you, Raki.
Sure. Thank you, Sunita, for raising these two questions, both relevant, um, very, very relevant questions. So, who do SEDEX or EcoVadis audits? So, from your lens, I could say that SEDEX is applicable where there is some site because it is an on-site audit. So we do it only for the suppliers who are making or providing direct supplies to us. When I say direct suppliers, which is contributing to the production of the products, to be a kind of a definition which I can give you. And indirect procurement, where there is no direct production which is happening, but you're contributing and providing, and thus it is falling under indirect spends, is are the suppliers with a particular threshold, 1 lakh euros and above, goes through EcoVadis. That's the high level definition of our segregation, but there are very strict audit rules that we have in place which helps us determine which supplier need to go for EcoVadis and which to SEDEX, and we try to have a clear risk prioritization approach and not ask everybody to do all the things. If you do SEDEX, even if EcoVadis is applicable to you, and if you do SEDEX, SEDEX overrides EcoVadis, to answer you. The second question that you had was, if you get the SEDEX report already done, do you need to do it again? If it is done by any of the preferred audit houses, the validity will be dependent upon the scoring that you have, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. If it has been, and if you are a new audit supplier to us, if you're an existing supplier, no exceptions for you. You very well know that we have preferred audit houses list. If you're a new supplier to us and have already recently got a SEDEX audit done by any other audit house which is not in our preferred list, yes, you can seek an exception and we allow 1 year validity irrespective of the scores there to you to get the next audit renewal done after 1 year is complete through any of the preferred audit houses. Any other questions, Sunita?
No more questions, Raki. We are good to move. Yeah.
Great. Since there are no more questions, team, in case there are any questions, please type in into Q&As. We'll endeavor our best to, respond it. I hand over to my colleague Aditi Chaturvedi to take over the quality part of the session today. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you so much, Rocky, and thank you for this insightful session. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the call today. I'm Aditi Chaturvedi. I'm the Global QMS and Compliance Manager. And today I'll be talking about the quality aspect of RPP. if we can move to the next slide. Before I begin the presentation, I would like all of you to think for a moment about the wow moment that you felt when you held a product in your hand and you were like, this is a superior product and I would like to go back to it again and again. And when was the last time you held a product and you were like, I'm never ever going to buy this product because of the major foreign matter contamination issue, or a kind of threat that you saw in your product, or some kind of microbial spoilage. So this is the experience that can make or break a product. And I think the partners here play a very important part to ensure that our consumers are either getting delighted or they are never going back to a product again, right? So the framework that I'm going to present today is entirely around this. I will start with the product safety and quality policy. And though this is for Unilever, I think it is not going to be very different for you as our partners. And the key things that we focus on are A, and this is at the core of everything that we do, we prioritize the product safety and the consumer safety and ensure that our consumers are delighted every time they are buying our product, right? So our deliverable is to build this consumer trust. We also ensure that we are complying to all the local regulatory requirements, all the legal requirements. And for this, what is it that we must do, right? We should have a quality management system in place that covers end-to-end processes. And we also need to ensure that these standards are implemented in essence. We also want to ensure that we continuously work to improve our products and processes. Then we want us and our partners to act on risks, be transparent, take feedback from the market. Whenever there are any major incidents or issues, collaborate with Unilever, act with transparency, and provide the information that our consumers need to be safe. We also ensure within Unilever that we foster a quality first culture that starts from our leadership and ends till our people who are working on our shop floor. And we want our partners to exemplify this same. And the last bit is on communicating responsibly whenever there is any kind of incident that is happening in the market. So this is specific for Unilever. As I mentioned, that I think this is as relevant for you, and I think the product safety and quality policy that all of you have will cover these elements in some form or the other. You can have a look at this policy in our RPP policy under the business integrity and ethics pillar. With this, if we can move to the next slide. So I do understand that in the call today we have a mix of suppliers. So I would just like to focus on the fact that when we talk about quality aspects and the expectations that we have from our partners, we would like to emphasize more on our PI suppliers. I think Raki has already explained the definition for it. These are the production items that are utilized directly or indirectly in the production of our finished products. So it encompasses different type of suppliers that we have, starting from raw material suppliers, pack material suppliers, finished good suppliers, traders and distributors, farmers, logistic service providers, and warehouses. So it covers end-to-end supply chain. So if you are a raw material supplier or you are a person who is just storing or handling our products at your warehouses, this is applicable for you. And when I say this, I'll be covering what is the scope in the subsequent slides. So if we can move to the next slide. So I'll start with the supplier management process flow. How do we select, and then how do we onboard our suppliers and ensure that they are performing as per our expectations? So there are four key steps here. The first one is selection. We start with scouting that is done by procurement. Then there is a thorough material and supplier evaluation that is done by R&D. This is followed by the trials that happen at our factories to ensure that the material is performing as per the expectations and is compatible with the processes that we have at our factories. And this is followed by approval. So this is the very first step of supplier selection. This is followed by material assessment. So once we have selected a particular material supplier combination, we do an assessment of the material, which is based on different aspects. What is the intended type? Is your product going into a home care product, or is your product going into a foods product? And then there are different aspects within these categories. For example, what is the allergen risk? What is the food fraud risk if you are a food supplier? What are the contaminants? What are the foreign matter risks that you have? And based on this, we classify a material either as a high risk material or a low risk material. And subsequently, your site is also classified as a high risk site or a low risk site. After that, we move on to the onboarding, where for high-risk suppliers, we expect you to provide an audit certification. I'll be talking about it in more detail in the subsequent slides. If you are a low-risk supplier, then you can simply do a supplier self-assessment. And if you get the passing percentage, you are onboarded. So this is for the new suppliers. Once you are inducted into the system, what we do is we do a performance management and improvement process. What we check for are some of the key KPIs that we have for our partners. So, for example, what are the non-conformances that you have for the raw and pack materials that you're supplying? What is the severity of these non-conformances? Are there any marketplace incidents that are related to the materials that you're supplying to us? Are you complying to the fundamentals? And when I say complying to the fundamentals, are you submitting the certifications on time? Are you signing off the specifications with Unilever? If there are any incidents, are you providing a robust corrective and preventive action plan to ensure that there are no recurring incidents? And all of these aspects ensure that we are continually improving and have a performance management system in place. If we can move to the next slide. So this is the supplier quality framework. I've briefly touched upon these aspects in the previous slides, but all of it starts with leadership and commitment. Unless there is leadership commitment from your organization, nothing that we are asking for can be achieved. So we expect our partners to have this kind of commitment in place and ensure that it is followed at all levels in the management and at the shop floor. The second one is material risk assessment and SQA compliance. Again, we classify the materials as high risk, low risk. Suppliers are classified as high risk and low risk, and based on that, you're expected to submit the certifications. Safeguarding our consumers. This is absolutely at the core of our product safety and quality policy. We need to ensure that we are providing safe quality materials to our consumers at all times. And for that, we want to ensure that we have all the right processes and controls in place. So, for example, lab management, monitoring, testing, horizon scanning, food fraud scanning, contaminants, allergens, all different type of testing that you're doing. You ensure that you have adequate process controls that are in place, and you also ensure that you agree to UL standard requirements and agreement with the UL specifications. Right? Incident management and full disclosure. So if there are any incidents can happen no matter how much we want to safeguard, there will be incidents that will happen. So if there in case of any incidents or recurring issues that we have with you, we want full disclosure, full transparency, acceptance of what has happened, and then working together towards a robust kappa, ensuring that there is a traceability that is in place. Documentation and transportation, a very basic requirement. We want you to support your consignment with a COA with each and every consignment that you're delivering to Unilever. And if there are any specific transportation requirements in terms of temperature requirement, you are supplying these materials as per those specific requirements. We also want to ensure that when it comes to performance management, you're adopting platforms like HICS for SQA compliance, for quality one for raw and material non-conformances. So all these different platforms and our collaboration through these platforms is really important to ensure that we are working towards continual improvement. So this is the mandatory framework that we have in place, and all our partners must comply to all these requirements that are stated here. If we can move to the next slide then. So these are the golden rules, not very different from what I have stated in the previous slide. Foster quality behavior. So right from the leadership to the shop floor, we need to ensure that we are promoting uniform quality behavior, and we incentivize consumer obsession, passion, and ownership throughout the organization. Ensuring quality fundamentals. I'm not going through this again because I've already spoken about this. Managing risk compliances and challenges. So no matter what kind of a supplier are you, you can be a LSP supplier, you can be a raw material supplier, you need to identify what are the risks and the hazards that are there in your process. You need to establish the control points. So for if you're a food supplier, it can be a critical control point. If you're some other supplier, then you need to ensure that the adequate controls are in place. You need to monitor these control points effectively, and you also need to define a response plans. What if things do not go as intended? What is going to be your action plan? Then adapt to the external environment with changing regulatory requirements and emerging risks. We have seen quite a few cases where new regulations have come in, the suppliers have become non-compliant, and these have become big challenges. So we need to stay a few steps ahead of the emerging regulations and risks and ensure that we are complying to the standards at all times, right? And if there are any major changes that are happening in your processes, in your lines, that can have an impact on the product safety, and these are the products that you supply to Unilever, you need to also communicate these changes transparently to us. Collaborate for product superiority. I mentioned in the beginning, it is not only about providing safe products to our consumers, but also what is the experience that people have. Are they coming back to our products again and again? Do we have a competitive edge over the competitors? Yes or no? So I think this part is also very important. And then the last part is on embracing digital communication. Please adopt the different platforms that we have for different compliance standards. So this is on the golden rules. If we can move to the next slide. So if I talk particularly about the USQS requirements when it comes to quality, we simply categorize a material into a high or a medium or a low risk. If you are a high or a if you are a supplier who's supplying high or a medium material to us, we classify your sites as high risk sites, or low risk sites based on the assessment that we have done. If you're a high risk supplier, you are supposed to provide us with a quality certification in place. In the next slide, I'll cover some of the certifications that we do accept. It should be from an approved certification body and from an accredited standard that we accept. And if you are a low risk supplier, our preference again is that if you have a certificate in place, that would be our first preference. But if not, then you just need to fill out the supplier self assessment, ensure that you're complying to the different requirements that are stated there. Now, some of the frequently asked questions that come to us are, if a supplier has multiple sites, what is the compliance that we need? So for each of your sites that are supplying any kind of materials to Unilever, you need to have a certification in place. So it is one certification per site covering the scope for the materials that is being supplied to Unilever. Then the next common question that we get is around the risk of the material. So if you are a site and you're providing a combination of high and low risk materials, then we will always consider the highest risk of the material. After the assessment, we expect you to upload a certificate and audit report if you're a high risk supplier, SSA for low risk suppliers. Then there is a step of verification that happens. We check for the applicability, that you are a partner for a particular category. Have you submitted the certificates as per the applicability? Does the material that you're supplying to Unilever is covered in the scope of the certification? What is the validity of the certification, and is it approved by Unilever? After having this verification step, then you become an approved supplier. And then what we expect from you is to have this ongoing approval maintenance based on the validity. You will get a trigger from the system 90 days before the expiry of the certification that you need to upload a new valid certification. So this is on the entire USQS requirement and quality. If we can move to the next slide, please. If we talk about the certification standards, it's a busy slide. I'm not sure if you'll be able to go through all the details, but the intent here is to show you the multiple options that we have in place for each of the categories. You will see that in some of the blocks you will see that it has been mentioned that this certification is or the standard is preferred or this is accepted. The difference between both is the preferred standards are the standards that Unilever prefers. However, if you don't have these in place in your particular country because of the geographical aspects, because of the auditor or the certification unavailability, then we do accept the other certificates as well. Now, all of these details are available in the supplier manual. I hope all of you have a copy. If not, then we will definitely share that as a part of the post webinar communication. If we can then move to the next slide. Coming to the audit companies, and I do also get a lot of questions around the preferred audit companies. You can see the list of these preferred audit companies. However, we do realize that there are challenges and constraints in some of the regions. If you do not have the certification from these preferred audit companies, then you can go to any of the websites where the audit standards have a directory. You can go to that directory and you can check for the list of the recognized audit companies within these standards. If it is there, then you can definitely take a certification from these audit companies. What we do not accept are provisional certificates. So we have seen in the past is that some of the audit companies are either blacklisted or they hold a provisional certificate. In this case, we won't accept any kind of certification from these kind of certification bodies. So this is on Unilever preferred audit companies. If we can move to the next slide then. The last slide that I want to cover is on the supplier guidance framework. What I've provided you with are the mandatory standards and the framework around it. But how do you really achieve it is something that we have covered in the supplier guidance framework. I cannot go into all the details because of the time constraint. But what I can quickly talk about is the framework that allows you to achieve what we expect you to achieve. So what we need to ensure that we have a framework in place that covers different aspects like HACCP, traceability, product defense, robust lab management, analytical records that are traceable, mock recalls, robust trainings for our employees, adherence to the regulations, um, storage and shipping requirements, pest control and elimination, hazard control, foreign matter prevention, facility design, cleaning and disinfection. So all the things that I've mentioned here are core to achieve what we have mandated as our requirements, right? And I'm sure that any of you who is following the quality management system would have all these different processes in place in some form or the other. If not, we expect you to ensure that they are in place. And the last but very important point that I want to mention here is on the expectations. So we do assess the risk, and our approach on everything is risk based. You could see it in the form of the certification and the SSA classification that we have done. But if we do see recurring incidents in form of raw and packed material defects where we are unable to see any kind of improvement from our partners end, or if we don't see good collaboration, what we do reserve is the right to come and audit your particular site so that we are able to collaborate together and achieve what we want to achieve in terms of consumer safety and product superiority. With this, I end and I pass it on to Sunita for any questions.
Thank you, Aditi, for the very insightful session. There are a couple of questions, and some of them you already covered, like audit requirement, a site level or a parent level is something already covered. I'll pick the one which is not covered. If you can throw some light on the applicability of SQA for transport suppliers, that would be helpful. Over
So
to you, Aditi.
Yeah, thank you for the question. So for the distribution part, I would like to cover it simply. You will again be categorized either as a higher risk supplier or a low risk supplier, and this is based on the different aspects that we consider. One of the key aspects that we consider are, if you are a transport service provider with controlled temperature conditions. So, if you're a transport service provider with controlled temperature conditions, these are the sort of things that we see and classify you as a high risk supplier. If you're supplying products under ambient conditions, then it calls for a low risk supplier classification, and then we expect you to fill out a self assessment that is applicable for your particular category. So, that is how the classification is done. So, Neeta, I hope I was
There
able
are
to
no,
answer.
yeah, there are
Yeah.
no more questions specific to quality at the moment I can see. If anything,
Okay.
we'll cover in the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sunita. And with this, I pass it on to Harish. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aditi, for the insightful presentation. Hi, everyone. This is Harish from Supplier Operations team. Today, I'd like to take you through how to update responsible sourcing audit details in HICS. So, the topics we're covering are how to update initial audit date and ZS number, how to update follow-up audit date, and how to upload non-SMETA audit documents. Next slide, please. So, say for example, your sourcing site is due for a audit. You would be receiving an reminder email to the registered email address asking you to update the audit details. So the communication would be from supplierportal.communications@unilever.com. And for each request, you would have a unique RAB ID, and the task name would be SEDEX audit request, along with your location ID, which is a unique number, as well as the location name. So once you click on it, next slide, please. So once you click on the task link, it'll take you to the supplier login page where you have to log in using your organizational email and password. Say, for example, you're logging in for the first time, you have to complete MFA authentication process, which is multi-factor authentication. Next slide, please. So during the authentication process, you will have two options to authenticate yourself, either using Microsoft Authenticator app or using a phone. So the recommended option here is to use phone option, where you can put in your country code and number, and you can use either of the options. Text me a code or call me, and you can authenticate yourself. So by clicking on next, next slide, please. By clicking on next, you would be landing on the this is the landing page in the supplier portal, where you get to see different tiles under favorites and SUP ID for each supplier. And under pending task, you can see what all the tasks which you need to be actioned on. So here you have a pending SEDEX audit task in your under the pending task. Next slide, please. So once you click on the task, you'll there's a form. We say it form one. So for notation, we say it form one. When you click on it, you will be displayed with your Unilever UU code, organization name, along with the site code and the site name. So the first question in the form one would be: has your site had a SMETA audit within the last 12 months? Say, for example, your audit standard is SMETA. You can answer yes to this question. Next slide, please. So once you have answered yes to that question, you'll be having some more branching questions where you need to put in the audit date, as well as the audit company with whom you have booked the audit with, and the ZS number. So ZS number is something which you get when you register on SEDEX platform, and it is a unique code for each sourcing location. So make sure that you update it correctly, and also Z and S should be capitalized, and there are no spaces in between whenever you update the audit details in Form 1. And most important part here is that you link to Unilever PLC, and also this will allow you to share the audit reports with Unilever, and this will help expediting the audit process. Next slide, please. So once you have submitted, I'll get to the submission screen, subsequent slides. So once you have submitted form 1, this is form 2, where you need to update the follow-up audit date or the anticipated closure date. So in form 1, you get to see the same details as well as with ZS number, audit date, and also the count of NCs. So here you get to see how many minor, major, and collaborative action required, business critical, the count of NCs, and also the validity. So as explained, validity depends on the score and the count of the NCs. So here you have more information on how to work on updating corrective action plans on SEDEX. And here in this field, you need to update the follow-up audit date. Say, for example, your findings are of all desktop in nature. You can update the anticipated closure date of all the findings. Next slide, please. So going back to form 1, say you have a non-SMETA audit and you want to update or upload documents, you can answer no to that question. And next slide, please. So when you answer no to that question, you will be asked with another question. It is discretion. Do you want to? You may consider other audits. So once you answer yes to that question, you will have an option to update the responsible business or the ethical audit which was conducted at your sourcing site. You can name it, say for example, a Rainforest Alliance certificate for tea suppliers. So here you get an option to upload those documents as well by choosing by clicking choose file. And next slide, please. So going back to form 1, say for example you have answered no to both the questions, the task will be still in your pending under your pending task, asking you to book the audit on time. Next slide, please. So yeah, this is the submit screen in all the forms, form 1 and 2. Once you have updated the audit details or uploaded non-SMETA audit documents, this is the submit screen, how it looks like. So once you click on submit, you will be asked to make sure you want to proceed. You can click OK. And once you have submitted, you will get a prompt saying the task was submitted successfully. Next slide, please. So here are some next steps or best practices you can take to expedite the audit process. So firstly, make sure that you publish the audit reports once you have it, and also update the audit details in HICS, and ensure that you book the follow-up audit on time, and make sure you update the audit details, follow-up audit date in HICS, and also publish them on SEDEX. And most important thing here is that, as explained before, all the corrective actions for all open findings must be updated on SEDEX within 90 days from the initial audit date. So thank you. Now I hand over to Ashwini. Thanks.
Thank you, Harish. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashwini. I will take you through the process of how to fill the EcoVadis audit request in HICS. So, suppliers will receive an email from Supplier Portal Communication requesting you to complete the audit task, EcoVadis audit request. Please access the portal using the link provided in the email. Next slide, please. Yeah, you can move to the next slide. Yeah. When you open the task, you will notice that the field ultimate Unilever Ultimate Code and organization name is already auto-filled. Please take a moment to confirm that this information correctly reflects your organization details. Select yes if your organization already has an EcoVadis rating. Enter your EcoVadis ID. If you're unsure of the ID, you can retrieve it directly from your EcoVadis account, or you can contact the EcoVadis help desk for support. Next slide, please. Yeah. So if you select yes if your organization has previously completed responsible sourcing audit done by SEDEX, and provide the following information. Firstly, your SEDEX, that is ZS number from SEDEX, and you can upload your latest audit report and submit up to 3 supporting documents as well. Next slide, please. Yeah. If you have indicated that you have not previously completed a responsible sourcing audit, you will need to follow the steps below to schedule an EcoVadis audit. Please confirm if we can share your contact details with the EcoVadis team. Please click yes
if you will be the contact person, or if you wish to identify another person from your organization to be contacted. Once you submit the task, we will share your contact details with the Covadis team. You can move on to the next slide, please. Yeah. For suppliers receiving a registration link from Unilever, click the registration link in the email. It will take you through the Covadis registration page. You can complete all the required information. Ecovadis team will then review your submission and guide you through the assessment process, where you will receive a customized questionnaire. And you need to answer all the questions and upload relevant supporting documents as a part of the assessment. So that's the process of updating your Ecovadis audit task. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Shadila.
Thanks, Ashwini. So let me introduce myself. So I'm Shitila from Supplier Operations team. So I would take you through how to update the quality audit details in the HICS portal. So when you are due for a quality audit, you will get a reminder in your registered email ID along with the location details. So once you click on the location details, it will take you to the supplier portal dashboard. Next slide, please. Supplier portal dashboard, and once you click on the task, you will get a set of quality questionnaire which you are supposed to answer. Yeah, next slide, please. So the first question would be about the audit information, that do you have an existing quality audit you would like to upload. So once you answer yes to that question, you will have to answer other questions like what is the audit standard, audit company, audit certificate number, and you will have a field to upload the quality certificate along with the audit report. So here it is mandatory that you need to upload the quality audit report also for us to validate your certificate. Next slide, please. Yeah, following to that, you will be able to see the supplier type. So you need to select the production item which you are giving to Unilever from the drop downs which is showing in the right side. And below to that, you will be able to see the HICS location details against which you are uploading the certificate and you are filling the details. And you will be able to see the quality audit manual, and in that manual you will be having details of the all audit companies, audit standards, what are the preferred audit standards for us against the supplier types and all. So please go through the manual, and once you understood that, you can acknowledge it by clicking on the box against it. Yeah, next slide, please. And there are some other questions about the audit requirements, like if you have any test reports of the allergen or uh, pathogen testing, you can upload it. HACCP, if you have, you can upload it, but those are not mandatory fields. And question about the microbiological or physical testing is a mandatory field, and once you answered that you have conducted a physical or chemical testing, then it will ask you to update the corrective action you have taken against the incident. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, and then you need to update the quality audit contact details of the person who filled the survey. So please ensure that the contact details are updated correctly, because if we need any clarification about the audit certificate or audit standard, so we will approach to this person. So the person would be able to provide us the correct details. Yeah, next slide, please. So once you updated the details, you will get a submit button. And once you submitted the task, we will get the task in our queue to validate your certificate against the details which are updated in the HICS portal. So we will validate your certificate, and if the requirements are meeting Unilever requirements, then we will make your site compliant based on the certificate validity, and you will get the compliance status of your location in your registered email ID. Yeah, next slide, please. So when the product and services you are giving to Unilever is of low risk, you have an option to complete a questionnaire which is called SSA, Supplier Self Assessment Initiative. Yeah, next slide, please. So same, you will get a reminder to your email ID to complete the survey. Once you click on the location details, it will take you to the supplier portal dashboard. Next slide, please. Yeah, so once you click on the task, you will get to see some questions. Next slide, please. So question about the, like, are you a supplier of food ingredients? Are you a supplier of ingredients that are used in food? So you can answer yes or no. Again, you will get to see quality manual here also. So please go through the document, and you need to update other details of the location, like how many people in your organization are organization manages quality and all, and what is the local regulation applies to your product. Yeah, next slide please. Yeah. So even though you have the facility to complete the SSA, you can upload the certificate as well. So if you have any existing certificate, you can answer yes to the question, do you have an existing quality audit you would like to upload? And you can upload it by answering to other questions, like which is shown in the screen: audit standard, audit company, and audit report is not mandatory here. So you can upload certificate alone. Yeah, next slide, please. Again, further to that, you will have options to upload the pathogen, allergen, contaminants report. If you have it, you can upload it. Again, those are not mandatory. Microbiological question about the microbiological and physical testing is a mandatory one. Next slide, please. Yeah. So if you do not have the certificate with you, you can answer no to the question. You do not have a certificate. And then further to that, you will get to see a set of questionnaire under different subjects. So like management responsibility, quality and food safety management. Next slide, please. So you will have a set of questionnaire against which you will have drop downs. So you can select the answer from the drop down, and once you have selected all the responses, you will have a submit button. Next slides, please. Yeah, next slide, please. So once you submitted the survey, and if the responses to your questions are meeting Unilever requirements, the survey will get auto pass and you will get a validity of 2 year. And if any of your responses, next slide, please. So if any of your responses to the question is not meeting our requirements, then we will reach out to you to assist you how to reconsider the survey, and we will help you to complete it. So the validity for SSA would be of 2 years, and validity of quality audit certificate would be based on the certificate validity. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so that's it on how to update audit details and how can you complete the SSA survey in the Higgs portal. So if you have any questions, you can put it on the chat. Thank you. I'll pass on to Sunita for Q&A session.
Thank you, Shidila, for walking us through the tool. Um, there are a couple of questions, a very interesting one on the RPP, Raki, where we would look up to you for the responses. I'll take the first three. One on how do we assess the risk of our site? Yeah, so basically we are trying to understand the risk profiling by ourselves. There are multiple questions. If SMETA is replacing EV, we have tried to respond. I suggest it would be good if we cover it here so that it's better for the larger audience. And okay, so how long before SMETA validity expiry the task is generated in Hex? Yeah, so we can take these three and then we'll come back on the other three. Yeah. Raki, we can't hear you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So thank you, Sunita, for raising these points. They're very relevant. So how do we assess, risk? Is basically based on various parameters, depends upon the questions that you submit. But if you want to really do it, it's based on the country that you are sitting in, and as well as the commodity risk that we get from global tools. We determine the, risk appetite. The second question is SMETA or replace EcoVadis, or I see questions around EcoVadis replace SMETA. The answer is no. Both of them are different, absolutely. However, wherever there's a requirement of EcoVadis, and if SMETA is done, it can override EcoVadis requirement. But it cannot be otherwise. If the requirement is SMETA and you do EcoVadis, it won't override it. The third question is how long before the validity? So it is 90 days. Sunita, correct me. It is 90 days before the expiry of the audit that it gets, raised. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sunita.
Thanks, Raki. That's right. Tool generates a task before 90 days of the expiry of the previous audit. Yeah. So there are three more questions. One is on the review of preferred audit house list. Uh, is it reviewed, and are there any plans of extension? Yeah. And another two questions on the car findings. So when we have a car finding, how much time is provided to prepare an action plan, and is this considered as a business critical, as this has a 1,000 score? Over to you, Raki.
Yeah. Thank you, Sunita. Both relevant questions. Thank you for raising these questions. With respect to preferred audit houses, as of now, we have a list of 10 preferred audit houses, which is already there available. At as we speak, there is no plan to extend it or make it open. There's none. If anything comes in future, we will let you know. But as of now, the answer is no. Second question is with respect to car findings. All car findings are scored at 1,000, and I explained the reason very clearly because the car findings presently does not have a mechanism of verification by audit houses. They can only be verified once the next audit happens or the renewal audit happens. In follow-up audit, they cannot be verified. So they all have a score of 1,000. We understand your concerns because car findings are largely bucketed into either forced labor findings or pertaining to living wage. So forced labor definitely falls under business critical category. Living wage is not business critical at this moment, but will become business critical if we don't act on them. So to answer your query, the score is 1,000, and we will have renewal audits done, as required. Though we are working very closely with SEDEX to see how we can improvise this program and process and have some verifications mechanism in between, but as of now, the answer is no. Thank you, Sunita. Over to you.
Thanks, Raki. So there is another question I just came across. Is Intertech only body to use for the pre-screening report and product safety report? I think it is related to the quality. Aditi, if you can help us.
Yeah, hi Sunita. If you can just repeat this one.
Yeah. Is Intertech the only body to be used for the pre-screening report and product safety report?
I don't think that is the case. The list of the bodies or the certification companies has been provided. So Intertech is not the only company for pre-screening. And the list of the acceptable bodies has been provided in the supplier manual.
Thanks, Aditi. So there is another question. As traders, the site approval is per manufacturer site. So if we have 6 supplier, we need to complete 6 SSA. So basically similar to the question, is SSA done at a parent or a site level?
Yeah. So be it SQA or SSA, it is done at a site level. It is not done at a parent level. Having said that, we do recognize the complexities that might exist if you're a trader because your sourcing might change from time to time. In that case, we expect you to take into account all the different supply chain from where you're getting your or sourcing your materials and try to get the SQA certification from these units from where you are sourcing the materials. But it is at the site level, it is not at the parent level because the risk is calculated at the site level.
Thanks, Aditi. So there is another question. If we have not been asked for a SMETA audit, does that mean we do not need to do it? So Raki, you might want to take up this question.
Yeah, thanks, Sunita. The answer is yes. If SPET audit will be required and triggered to you, or ECOWAD is required and triggered to you, you will receive the email about that trigger. If you have not received it, probably you are out of scope as per the risk prioritization metrics as we explained. Thank you, Sunita. Over to you again.
Thanks, Raki. So I think we are done with the critical questions and the most asked questions, Raki. So maybe the remaining one, either we can cover via FAQ or we can answer them in person. Yeah. Let me know if you
Okay.
have come across anything you want to clarify.
Sure. So thank you. I think thank you for raising all these questions. They're super critical, super relevant for us. I see there are some questions which are also coming in with respect to announced, semi-announced audits, or there are requirements in other companies where there is a range or the time which is being provided. So let's understand that Unilever accepts announced audits, which is the minimum. If you're doing semi-announced or you're doing unannounced audit for the requirement of some other organization, that's absolutely fine, because that is even more kind of critical as compared to what we are doing, or they're more in that space. So absolutely okay, we are okay with announced audit. But if you are doing it semi-announced or other ways, unannounced audit for any other supplier, that's also fine with us. We are okay with it. So I also see some of the questions coming around, talking about that if I have got the audit done from any other audit house, will that be acceptable? If I'm getting BCSI audits, will that be acceptable? So the answer is that as of now, Unilever only accepts Meta audits, Meta 7.0 version, that too. And if you're getting done any other audits, that is not acceptable to us. Secondly, your question is preferred audit houses. Again, we are accepting only through preferred audit houses. If you're getting it done by any other audit house, that's not acceptable at this moment. However, there's an exception if you're a new supplier and do not know the preferred audit house list with you. Probably we can work around and provide you an exception, but the validity will remain 1 year, irrespective of the scores that you earn. So with that, I think there are a lot of questions that are being getting raised, and please do keep asking your questions. We still have some time, Sunita, left with us. Have a look. Are there any questions which are unanswered, and we can trigger and talk about them?
Yeah. So there is
Yes,
one.
you will get the present. Yes, sorry,
Yeah.
Sunita. Let me just
Go
complete.
ahead.
Yes, you'll get the presentation. Yes, you will get you will also get the FAQs published. So even if we are missing, because there are a lot of questions which are coming across, everybody, and thanks for such an interactive one. So we are even struggling to, read every question at this moment. So even if, we are not able to respond to any of your questions, please be assured we will respond to you into FAQ section, which we'll create and share with you all questions that we are receiving from different, kind of such webinars and sessions. Just bear with us for some time, because we are doing a series of such sessions. So once we will have feedback from anybody, you can expect in a week's time to receive, the presentations as well as the FAQs from our side. Over to you, Sunita. Any more questions?
Thanks, Raki. So there is one question on, is there an option to see a summarized, centralized report compliance status where we have a multiple sourcing side? So currently this functionality is limited to the users within Unilever. It has not been extended, but you can reach out to one of your counterpart who's my team member who are working with you. We have a SPOC for each of the region. So you can reach out to them. They will help you with the summarized report and also the until when the site is compliant. So these detail can be provided offline. Yeah. So that's all, Raki. We might need some time to go through the questions and then respond. We'll cover them subsequently. Yeah, back to you. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I want to thank all my, presenters here today, and especially want to thank all of you who have taken up time to, attend and be there in the seminar. We are sharing with you some resources on the screen. If you see, these are resources which are there in the public domain, very easily available to all of you. And, we'll share with you the links as well for ready reference. Kindly go to the next slide, please. This is where you can contact. As external users, you can raise ServiceNow requests. There are phone numbers as well, which has been provided to you, so you can try and reach out using any of them. Or you have the SPOC point of view of yours as well, which you can raise. So absolutely okay with whatever mode you reach out to us and come back to us. You at least know your buyers. In case you don't know anybody, you at least know your buyers. So reach out to your buyers. They know where to reach out, and they'll reach out to us. We will make sure that we keep responding to you, we keep supporting to you. We are a team who are responsible to support you, right? So please be with us in every space, and we will respond to you with the information that you are seeking. There are a lot of FAQs which is coming, and That's so nice that we are getting interactions from you. We'll try to respond each and every question in the FAQ if we have not been able to respond in the webinar right now. That gives us 15 days, 15 minutes with all of us to save your diaries, have a break. Thank you very much. Thank you for this wonderful session.